Forget everything you've been told about AI agents being complicated. They're not. Because all you need is a simple flowchart and a free tool called n8n. And I'm going to give you my exact method. Now, this AI agent only has three parts. First, the brain. And this is what we call a large language model. So you can see that in my example, I'm using Google Gemini 2.0 Flash. The second is an output parser. And this will make more sense when I show you exactly how to build this AI agent. But essentially, all it lets you do is output variables and then use them later downstream inside of the automation. And the third is tools. So you can actually do things like send a draft email. And that's all there is to it. You need a brain, a structured output parser, and tools. Now let's build it. Okay, so we're inside of n8n. And all automations have an input or trigger and an output, which is a tool like this. And everything else inside the middle of this automation is completely customizable. So for this particular example, I built a cold email AI agent. And all this does is it pulls in leads from a Google Sheet. It then generates a email personalization message, and then it sends it into drafts on my Gmail. And the most important node in this automation is the email personalization agent. So let's start off with that first. You head over to the nodes panel and then you do search for AI agent, and it's this option here. Once you have that, it's going to look something like this. And as with all AI agents, you're going to need inputs. So for this example, I've defined it below. And the prompts I'm going to be using is the website, which is coming from the Google Sheet, and I'll show you that in a second, the name and the email. So this is what the Google Sheet looks like. It's just an example of like a lead sheet. Now you can bite at this or you can scrape it. It doesn't really matter. The point is that we have information inside of this sheet that I want to generate and contact using cold emails. So we have the name, we have the website, and we have the email address, which I'm going to plug into this AI agent as a prompt. And I've toggled on require specific output format, and that's why I need this output parser. And then the most important part is the system message. So here you're going to see a system message that's something like this. Now this is where I spend most of my time. Whenever my students ask me, where is the most amount of your time spent when you're building automations? And I always tell them it's inside the prompting, right? Because if you're going to put garbage in, you're definitely going to get garbage out. So think about exactly what you want the AI agent to do. So for this example, you are an email outreach agent. You need to produce two outputs. The first is a variable called message, and the second is a variable called email address, right? Your job is to create a short, personalized cold email. My name is Sanj, and the goal of the email is to book a meeting. Keep it natural in the conversational tone. Do not repeat inputs. Keep it concise, benefit driven. And then I've given an example. This is the most important part. Whenever you create a prompt, always try and give it an example. So in this example, for this particular cold email agent, I would just include an example of an email that I personally written myself. Now, the more examples you give it, the more context you're going to give it, and the better output you're going to get. And then I put in there, optimize the cold message variable for Gmail. And that's purely because I'm going to be sending this to my drafts inside of Gmail. And that's it. That's basically 80-90% of the automation done. And then because we're using an AI agent, we're going to need a language model. So I'm using 2.5 Flash from Gemini. I mean, you can use any language model that you want. This could be ChatGPT, it could be Claude, it could be whatever you want it to be. The reason I'm using Gemini is because A, it's completely free when you're using it through the API, and B, 2.5 Flash is the fastest language model that I've used. And I use it for a lot of my automations. And then because we required specific output to be toggled on, we're going to need the structured output parser. And this only has two variables, right? Because I've told it in the prompt that I want a cold message and an email address variable. And this is very basic JSON. This is about as basic as you're going to get it. Inside of these brackets here, all these quotation marks, you can leave it blank, because when I run the automation, you're going to see that the AI agent will actually submit this and fill it with the dynamic variable data. And so now that we have the AI agent, we're just going to need a couple more things to complete the automation. And the first is a Google Sheet. So for this example, I've connected up to my Google Sheets account, which is just Gmail. I'm going to do a get rows operation, and then you just select the document and the sheet. So for this, it's just sheet one of one document. I kept it very simple. And for this example, I've just put a schedule trigger node. You can put a chat window in here. You can put whatever you want. But if you wanted to schedule this because maybe you have a Google Sheet that's filling up with leads, for example, then you can just let it schedule and just run every hour, every day, whatever you want. And this can be toggled inside of the schedule trigger node. And then the last node is the output. So for this, I'm sending it to drafts inside of my Gmail. I've connected it up to the Gmail account. I'm going to use draft because I don't want to actually send these emails out. These are actually real emails. I've created a subject line, and for the email type is text. And then the output is going to be the output from the previous email personalization node, because remember, it creates two variables. The first is cold message, and the second is email address. So the message will be the cold message, and then the to email, or where we're sending it to, is going to be email address. So let's go ahead and test this puppy. I'm going to hit execute workflow because I'm triggering it manually. The first step is going to grab the 4 leads from the Google Sheet. It's then going to go through and cycle through each of these contacts and create an email personalized message, which is what it's doing now. And it's going to output it to send to draft inside of my Gmail account. And if I go inside of my drafts inside of Gmail, you can see that I've got 4 messages. And these are all highly personalized for each contact. So this was the first lead, here's the second lead, the third lead, and so on. Now what's great about this automation is that it's really very basic. This is the most basic automation that you can do. But it's actually a very powerful one if you think about it. Because if you've ever done cold emailing, you know that in the old days, it was very time consuming. But now you can use an AI agent and completely automate the entire process within a few minutes. And if I go inside of my executions tab, you can see that 4 emails took just under 15 seconds. So this is a very scalable, very automated process for sending out leads at mass scale. And this is an automation that I have personally sold to clients through my agency. And obviously it can be more complex than this because you would add the client's CRM, you'd add other types of nodes and integrations for every specific client. But the fundamentals of the automation, the foundations are exactly what you see in front of you. And there you have it. A no-code AI agent then grab leads from a Google Sheet. It understands the name, the email address, and it formulates a personalized message for each individual contact. Now, obviously, if you had more data inputs on the Google Sheet, it's going to create a much more highly personalized message. And that is what I recommend. But because I wanted to keep this simple and something that I want to teach a 10-year-old, I've only used a few fields for the inputs. And if you follow this process, you could build this in under 10 minutes. It's really that easy. And this is the foundation for building any agent that you can think of. It all starts from this. And if you want this exact workflow, or if you're looking for ideas on how you can use AI in your business, how you can create a side hustle, or if you're like me and you want to create an AI agency, click on the link in the video description and sign up for my online community. We have a bunch of people inside that run all sorts of businesses. They have 9-to-5 jobs, but they're also interested in AI side hustles and selling AI automation. So the link is in the description. Click on that and just follow the on-screen instructions, and I'll see you on the inside. And before you go, if you love this video, please do me a huge favor and like it. If you haven't signed up for the channel, smash subscribe, turn the notifications on so you see when the next video drops, because I'm somebody who's running an AI automation agency as a full-time job. I absolutely love it. I work with some really diverse clients all over the world, and I drop videos on this channel to show you how you can use AI to make a great income. So thank you so much if you made it this far. See you when the next video drops, and have a great day.